Hello, and welcome to episode 18 of Spilling the Green Beans, my weekly live gardening show where I share with you my green secrets to inspire you to start growing your own vegetables. We had, unfortunately, to move back indoors again because it is pouring here. It's raining cats and dogs, and it's chilly. But the forecast is very optimistic as of next week, or actually as of this weekend. So I'm looking forward to broadcast from my garden again next week. Okay, I am your host, Emily, creator of Easy Urban Gardening, the system for growing your own vegetables on a balcony or terrace in town. Thank you for spending time with me today when I talk about lettuce. Growing vegetables can seem daunting and hard work, but I share with you my green secrets, the most crucial techniques to make it fun and easy. You'll also learn how to take advantage of the broad health benefits of gardening and how to cook delicious meals with your own vegetables. I am spilling the green beans. And before I really dive into today's episode, I want to share with you that if you would like to garden together with me, it's not too late to join my Your Summer and Autumn Garden program. Here I guide you through the season until the end of September, making sure you get the most out of your garden. You get amazing, fresh, and healthy vegetables. You will create a place and routine to reconnect to nature, to de stress, and to unwind. You take back control over what comes on your plate, enjoying the highest nutritional value vegetables have to offer, and you will discover how easy and how much fun gardening can be. For more details and to book a complimentary discovery call, you find the link in the show notes. And I would love meeting you and discuss whether working together would be a good next step for you. Okay, then. Last week I spoke about sowing techniques. And today we talk about lettuce. Yes, it's another vegetable episode again, and I will share some nice and different ways to cook with your vegetables, or actually with your lettuce. But of course, we first dive into growing lettuce. There is a huge variety of lettuce available to grow, and most of them are very suitable for your easy urban garden. The most noteworthy difference actually is the difference in form the lettuce grows in. So there are three main families that we can kind of like divide all the lettuce in. It is a leaf lettuce, it's a butter head lettuce or general head lettuce, and then you have the romaine lettuce. And the name says most of it actually already. The difference is the way they form their heads or not. So the difference is between a nice compact lettuce head, round in case of head lettuce, or a little bit more oval shaped in the case of romaine lettuce. And then, or kind of like a loose, bushy bundle of leaves, which of course are the leaf lettuces. Also, the leaf lettuce will you kind of like per definition harvest over a longer period of time. You are picking single leaves, creating exciting mixed salads, whereas the lettuce heads are mainly harvested as a complete full-grown head. Although, even with the lettuce head, you can pick leaf by leaf. Like you kind of like take the outer leaves and add them to your salad, and then you can keep picking those leaves until the end of your lettuce. Or what I kind of like do is I pick the outer leaves, like the big ones that also kind of like are a little bit more loose. So I pick those, and as a lettuce head and romaine lettuce as well are considered a large plant, so we have 4 in a square. I pick those loose outer leaves of all 4 the heads. They never, ever, ever grow all at the same pace. And then I keep like the nice, tiny, compact, hard, or kind of like the real head, I keep, and then I harvest that one as a whole for a really nice butterhead lettuce salad. So that is how I do it. When you talk about picking and the form of the lettuce, but there is another important difference, and that's a very important difference if you are a lettuce lover like I am. There is a big difference in heat resistance between the different varieties of lettuce, because in general, lettuce is a cold weather plant and it bolts quickly, sometimes even very quickly, when the temperatures rise. And I'm on purpose speaking about temperatures because it's not just how sunny the spot is. As you know, my rooftop terrace is in the sun all day, no shade at all. And I do grow my lettuce. But the heat resistancy is kind of like the general outdoor temperature. As soon as that goes up, lettuce tends to bolt really, really quickly. And as we know, the taste deteriorates tremendously the moment a vegetable starts to flower, because that is the moment where the leaves become tough, they become bitter. It's just kind of like the crispness goes kind of like away. It's just not a good thing for a leafy vegetable to start blooming if you want to enjoy the richness, the freshness, the crispness that comes with homegrown vegetables. But there are lettuce varieties that cope better with warm weather than others. Also, it can help, of course, if you can find a more shady spot in your garden or on your terrace or balcony, or maybe you have a big tree in the area that throws shade on your garden for a few hours a day, especially like in the afternoon. If that is the case, that is the spot to grow lettuce. That makes it a little bit easier over summer. But let's have a look into the more heat-resistant varieties within the different families. So, head varieties for summer are something like deer tongue, Skyphos, Adriana, Buttercrunch Bib, Captain Bib, Cocodelo, Wunder der vier Jahreszeiten, or probably in English, it might be Wonder of the Four Seasons, something like that. Then the Kagrana Summer, that is, it's actually an Austrian variety. So maybe in English or in your area, they might actually call it Austrian summer lettuce or something like that. Then you have Red Cross, Nevada, Sierra Batavian, or Twanner. Twanner is also, it's a typical traditional Swiss variety, and it's a really good one. So everybody in Switzerland, go and try it. Then you have romaine varieties for summer. They are kind of like Jericho. Jericho is a romaine lettuce, actually grows even in Egypt. So that is definitely summer proof. Then you have varieties like Coastal Star, the Morge Forellen lettuce or trout lettuce, and all kind of like the varieties on Little Gem. That's also a good one. But the best heat-resistant lettuce can be found in the leaf lettuce family, which then, of course, also gives you most choices. There are a bunch of choices when it comes to the leaf lettuce variety for summer. It's quite a list that I made for you, but in the end, it still have to say, let me mention a few of them. It's Parinice, Belgrade, Rossino, Black Hawk, asparagus lettuce, Mesclun, Green Star, Magenta, Bronze Arrow loose leaf, or Red Salad Bowl oak leaf, Black Seeded Simpson, Cherokee, Darwin, Green Eyes, Green Vision, Lollo Bionda or Lollo Bianca, sometimes called as well, Lollo Rossa. And then there are still many, many more. So have a look at your local garden center or browse the catalog or website of your favorite seed supplier, and you will for sure find even more summer varieties. In general, they are labeled as either heat resistant, late bolt, slow to bolt, or summer. That is actually the easiest one, but many aren't labeled as summer, but some are. Okay, now you know which lettuces to grow over summer. It's time to dive in some tips to use your lettuce other than in a salad. Because I was just for fun Googling a little bit. And to my big surprise, when I Googled lettuce recipes, I found on sites called X lettuce recipes that go beyond salad, or what I found there, I mean, of course, I clicked on it just to see what is available already for you, or where I can maybe group things for you, make it a little bit more clear and less overwhelming. The only thing I found were actually salads with fancy dressings or toppings. And I was like, wait a second. And then, of course, I went on looking, and on several other websites that promised lettuce recipes to get excited about, or Latin recipes being non-boring. And honestly, in the end, it was all salad, and most actually didn't even really excite me. So I decided to dedicate this episode to real non-salad lettuce recipe tips. And first up is grilled lettuce. I think that is one of the best things on a summer barbecue. And especially the romaine lettuces, they form a really compact lettuce head. It's kind of like, it's not soft. It's almost, it's really firm. And therefore, they're really suitable for grilling. And it's super easy. You cut the head lengthwise, you brush it generously with olive oil, and then you grill it over medium heat. So once it's nicely colored, like nice golden grilled color, you sprinkle it with freshly ground pepper and salt flakes. And I actually like to then pour over even a little bit more of a really, really high quality extra virgin olive oil. But you can also sprinkle it with flavored sea salt. You can buy many of them. But of course, as you know by now, I like to make them myself. So I take maybe a teaspoon of salt flakes. And then I mix that with, for instance, a combination of curry, cumin, and ginger. Or you can, so that is kind of like the more strongly flavored version. You can also go to cardamom, lemongrass, and fennel, which of course is then also really, really good combined with like a nice grilled salmon steak or something like that, or other fish. Another one that I like, and it's maybe a little bit less common combination, that's when you combine fenugreek with turmeric and allspice. That is really, really nice with, like the stronger meaty flavors, or with grilled aubergine, also really nice. Good. My second recipe tip for today is lettuce soup. Lettuce soup is very tasty and a great way to use up slightly wilted lettuce, or when you end up with a large supply of lettuce. So let's say you made a little mistake in your planning, and all of a sudden you have all this lettuce and you're like, oh, I'm done with salads. Then go for lettuce soup. It is super easy. So the basics, always the same for me. It's vegetable or chicken stock, up to you to choose. And onions or leek. Of course, onions are a little bit stronger. Leek is a little bit softer, little bit more gentle. And then lettuce leaves. Of course, we need lettuce leaves. So what do? You heat some butter or oil in a soup pot. And then you gently saute the chopped onion. You add the lettuce leaves. You let them shrink. and then you pour in the stock. You bring to the boil, only like that, because really lettuce doesn't need anything to kind of like cook through. And then you mix it with the hand blender and you season to taste. Done. As easy as that. But from there, of course, the exciting part starts, because now you can start varying. So let me talk you through some things. What can you do on top or even mix in? You can add sour cream. You can add crème fraîche. You can add a cheese spread. Doesn't need to be per se like a Herbie or a garlic cheese spread. Also think about the blue cheese spread if you like the bit stronger flavors. You can add fresh herbs, parsley, chives, chervil, coriander, dill. Almost anything is possible. You can add, again, spices like curry, cardamom, lemongrass, a pinch of cumin, maybe vanilla flavored salt flakes, really nice in the soup, or a dash of smoked olive oil, something different again. And then you can top it. You can give it a topping of crispy baked bacon, gray shrimps, crispy tofu, crispy fried aubergine, or croutons. So yes, you can go wild there. You can also add more vegetables instead of only the lettuce leaves. So think cucumber, zucchini, spinach, avocado. Whenever you choose for, well, the avocado no, but the other ones I mentioned, especially the cucumber or the zucchini, you add these to the sauteed onion first for, say, a minute or two. Then you add the bouillon or the stock, and you cook for about 6 minutes, because of course these vegetables need a little bit longer to soften. Then you add the lettuce leaves for another 1 to 2 more minutes. So in total, then your soup has to kind of like cook for roughly 7 to 8 minutes. And then, of course, you go ahead as previously described. You puree it, you season it to taste. And again, you can start with the toppings, with the cream, with the herbs, whatever. You can also add some garlic to saute with the onion, and then add some potato. You add the bouillon and you boil until the potato is done. Then you add the lettuce leaves for the last 2 minutes and puree. Finally, if you want to really thicken your soup, then you have to, from the beginning, do it a little bit differently. You saute the onion in butter, not in oil. Saute in butter. And then you add just as much flour as you used butter. So if you started off with 50 grams of butter, you will add 50 grams of flour. Same goes. If you started off for a small, really small portion, you started off with 20 grams of butter, you add 20 grams of flour. You stir and heat through the flour mixes with the butter, and the onion is in there as well. But important is that the flour mixes well with the butter, and you stir it and you heat it through for about 2 minutes. And then in one go, you just pour in the stock while stirring. And from there, you go on with making your soup. So then you have like a nice thickened soup. And then you bring it to the boil. And of course, then you add your lettuce leaves, other vegetables, whatever you want to do. What else can I say about soup? Okay, of course, that is actually also when you, actually in general, but definitely with lettuce, you have to think about what type of lettuce you use. Because of course, a lot of lettuces has a really soft taste. So the more bitter type of lettuce, like one of the real bitter ones is things like endive lettuce or Batavia lettuce. the more bitter type of lettuce you use, of course, then you can also use stronger flavors when it comes to spices. So, and if you decide to use spices to flavor your soup, so especially with these more bitter lettuces, then one last really pro tip from my side is add the spices to the onion and saute it together. In this way, you release a lot more of the spice flavors compared to adding spices at the end. So in comparison to salt and pepper, which you can easily add at the end, and actually you have to be very careful with the temperature if you would add the pepper at the beginning. So I will always recommend to add spice with salt and pepper, just normal salt and pepper, you can do at the end. But if you want to spice a little bit more adventurous and use that curry powder or maybe paprika powder or cumin or cardamom or lemongrass or coriander or ginger or whatever you can think of, fenugreek, allspices, ras al hanout, also really nice with the more bitter lettuces. All those kind of like a little bit more present spices, add them to your onions when you saute them in your oil or butter, whatever you start working from, because that really, really, really gives a flavor kick to any dish you make, not only to this soup. This is kind of like in general for everything you do. When you make a sauce, when you make a stew, when it doesn't really matter. Add your spices at the beginning and saute them slowly with your onion and maybe garlic or and other things to really kind of like free up the flavors. Okay, then I have one last final tip, because of course lettuce can be sauteed and served as a side dish just as any other green leaves. Again, you here too, you adjust your spicing to taste and lettuce type. And the stronger the lettuce, the stronger you can spice it. So be courageous and experiment a bit in the kitchen. And if you have questions or want to know more, you please join my free Facebook group, Amelie's Easy Urban Gardening, and feel free to ask there not only about growing your vegetables, but about cooking too. And I would love to meet you there and see some pictures of your lettuce creations. And those pictures are also allowed to be of stunning looking salads with great toppings or great dressings. Of course, I just wanted to give you something different in this episode than what I found is easy to find on the internet. So thank you for spending time with me in the garden, even though we're indoors, and hope to meet you soon in your garden. Did you enjoy this episode of Spilling the Green Beans? Then please share, subscribe, and give a review so more people can enjoy the show. And I look forward to seeing you in next week's episode when I talk about summer vegetables. I walk you through how to best move them from indoors to their place outdoors and how to properly prune them through the season. See you next week. Bye.